Hey everybody, welcome to Clash Miami. My name is Bob Babbitt. We get to chat with four of our top male triathletes. We've got Daniel Baekkegard, Sam Long, Jason West, Youri Keulen. Last year, Sam won here. Jason was second. Youri was fourth. And I think this is Daniel's first time racing here. Let's start with Mr. Sam Long, about to become a daddy. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great. Yeah, life is full of joy and hope right now.
Well, think about it. One of your big breakthrough races, I think, was on a racetrack at Daytona a few years ago when everybody was like, a lot of the European guys came over for that PTO event, and everybody's like, okay, we're going to shut up that big mouth American guy. And here you are running your way up to third place, and crowds going crazy, and people watching at home. A lot of them first exposure to the guy we call the big unit. What did they, and you ended up ninth, but you had really a breakthrough day, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was kind of the day I went from being a nobody in the sport to at least being something in the sport and showing that I had some potential on the world stage. Because so far it had been winning domestic races, but really no performance on the world stage with all the Europeans there and the whole world there. So yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun in that race on the stage. And after a year of COVID and no fans, I probably got a little carried away with the fans and forgot that it was a multi-loop course, I think.
And then winning here last year, kicking off the season, U.S. sweep, Jason in second, Ben Canute in third. That's pretty cool. You don't see a U.S. sweep at that many races.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a great race last year. And I mean, Jason was running the house down. So I was definitely on my heels. We had Magnus out there. It was a great race last year.
So this season, besides becoming a daddy, what are the plans?
Yeah, I really want to just focus one race at a time and be present in each moment. And of course, I've outlined a whole season. I know the whole season with my coach, but I don't want to be like too big picture at like I have the big picture in my mind, but I don't want to be thinking like so grand scheme that it's like, okay, everything doesn't matter. It's just like focus on each day and each execution while keeping the plan in my head. But so sort of being the soldier on the ground while also being the general with the plan, but not too much of either.
What do you've obviously raced at Daytona, you've raced at Miami. What do you like about these races on the track?
I think what's really cool about it is it makes it kind of like a team sports background. So I grew up doing team sports and, in football, it's very much like you can feel the momentum from the crowd and, okay, there's an interception and then the momentum shifts to the other team. And I really think on the track, you can sort of feel the momentum, whether it's in the favor of someone or not in the favor of someone, because like the crowd sees it and even all the athletes see it because each lap's only like 5 minutes on the bike and maybe 8 minutes on the run. So it's that's what I kind of like about it is that everything's right in front of your face, and I think that makes it more exciting.
So besides you four, you've got Lionel coming. I know all of you guys love racing Lionel. So Tam, talk a little bit about having another matchup with Mr. Sanders.
Yeah, to be honest, so I saw Lionel at the pool on Tuesday, and he told me he wasn't racing, and then he messaged me 6 hours later and showed that his flights were booked. So I was like, I said to my girlfriend, I said, I must have been looking pretty out of shape. he saw me at the pool and I said, oh yeah, I got to come and race all these guys. And I think he thought, oh man, I'm going to go whoop it to them. It seems to be the only answer, or it just sounded like too much fun. So, yeah, but a wild surprise, but a good surprise.
I love it. So Jason, you are the Triple Crown guy from from the Clash events. Last year, you were third in Daytona, second at Watkins Glen, second at Clash Miami, the undisputed champion of the Clash series. Talk a little bit about what obviously you dig the racing on the track. What's the deal?
Yeah, well, it's hard to be the champion when you didn't win any one of those races. So, unfortunately,
I don't think
fortunately,
anybody else did you did all three.
yeah, I mean, I was able to have a lot of consistency with it. So that's really good, but I haven't won a Clash race yet. And obviously it's they're races that I love, so I really want to win one.
Yep.
It would mean a lot to me. Yeah, it's just fun. Like, I think the racing is so tight. It's hard to get like out of sight, out of mind on a courses like this. I think you can keep everybody in sight. You know what's going on, and I think it just tends to keep the racing really close. And yeah, it just brings the best out of us. And I think, Clash does an amazing job with the races. They support the athletes really well. And yeah, I always have a lot of fun. It's a little bit shorter distance, which I like. I think anytime I can race slightly shorter, that's probably good for my body. I like to stay fast. So yeah, I mean, just having a lot of fun, and I think you probably get more out of yourself when you're having a good time.
So people think that a track is a track and you're just going around in circles, but those three are about as different as they can be. Daytona is, put your head down and go. Miami is a road course and it could be windy. It could be, there's some bike handling involved. And then Clash Watkins Glen there's climbing. You don't really think there's going to be climbing on a racetrack. Talk a little about the difference between these tracks.
Watkins Glen was shockingly hilly. Definitely like, when you're watching any racing or something going on, with cars, you don't really realize how much up and down there is in some of those tracks. Watkins Glen would be a totally different dynamic than Miami or Daytona because these are so flat. I mean, when that amount of climbing, I don't know how many loops you'd have to do, the elevation gain would be quite a lot. That was really cool. Miami, a lot of the time is super hot. The track temperature they said was 130 degrees. So it's, you're kind of baking out there, but yeah, it's different. I mean, Miami, I really like the bike course here because it's a little bit more engaging. You have a couple technical corners. They're not like super technical, but if you put your head down and close your eyes, you'll probably crash. So it's enough to keep you engaged. And so each one's a little bit different, but they're all really special with, the fans that you get to see every single lap and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
And last year you had a win at Augusta, win at Chattanooga. So when you look at your season as a whole, were you happy with it?
Not really. To be honest, I felt like I had some good stuff, but at the biggest races, I didn't perform. So my biggest goal this year is really focusing on those big races and performing on those days. And the PTO races, 70.3 Worlds, I think it's a distance I can do really well at.
Yeah.
We have a really big month probably in August with a couple PTO races, 70.3 Worlds. So really for me, it's how can I be at my best in August this year, pretty much. I think that's been the biggest thing for me is I got to come out on the big days and have those big performances because I've had splashes of really good stuff, but it's maybe not on the big stage. So I just have to get it right on the right days.
So Daniel, I look at this last year and season ender in I think it was in December, Ironman Israel. What a race. It's not often that somebody swims 49:05, rides 4:09:33, runs 2:37:39, goes 7:43:39 and doesn't win the race.
Yeah, I think Patrick he shocked a bit of us. I remember doing the math on the run, and I was like, okay, I'm running 3:45 right now, and I think I would. At that point, I thought I would be able to hold it to the finish line. Also did, and he was, I think, 5 minutes behind. I thought, okay, no way, he's gonna gain anything basically. And then he does a 2:30, and there's not a lot to say about that, especially on a course with that amount of elevation. That's no words.
Right.
But I think as well, it was I don't know if it was an eye opener, but still just, after the race, I was like, okay, I just want to learn how to race basically. And that also sets up for this season. I think we all were kind of a victim during the COVID pandemic, of course, but also afterwards, the fact that we don't really race that often. We are not like the ITU doing, like you can do, I don't know, 15, 20 races a year.
Yeah.
I took it a bit more like I wanted only to race the big events and then not race anything else. And I think that's a big mistake. Not practicing the racing, and also the fact that it's what brought me into the sport. So I just want to get better at racing and also have fun while doing it. And I think to be able to race on the Homestead racetrack, that's pretty special. And when the opportunity comes, then you also have to grab it and make the most out of it.
Did you get to ride? Did you ride the course there in Miami?
Yeah, we just did this morning, and it's awesome to do. Like it's so spectacular, and also I think it's like there's huge opportunities for like racing and broadcasting and making triathlon kind of Euro friendly as well, yes, with all the possibilities of making live streams and post race productions and so on, because it's you have all the athletes within quite a small distance as well. So I think it could make spectacular racing. We saw that last year. That was I was at home watching it on the television and having kind of FOMO of not being here. So I think we just have to make it bigger in the future.
Absolutely. And Youri, for you last year racing here in Miami, and your race was phenomenal. You had a 55-minute run and 2:42.50 in fourth place. When you look back at that race, were you happy with that one?
Yeah, well, I came kind of out of nowhere. Maybe I think the guys didn't know who I was, but I knew who they were, so that's a good sign. And I came out of ITU racing, and I made a change in November that year, or last year, to change some things in the way I approached racing and training. And actually, I came here without any expectation, and it was my first real race as a pro on a high level stage. And I was like, before the race, I said, okay, if I make top 15, then I have a quite good day. Because I looked at the start list, I saw my racing number, I thought, okay, well. And then I started racing, and actually I came off the bike, I think, in 12th position. And then I was running with Taylor Butterfield, playing Pac-Man, just catching every one of them. And sadly enough, I didn't catch Ben Canoe in the end, but that's maybe for this year later, that I can get on the top 3 spots. But yeah, it was for me really like a moment like, all right, okay, actually I think I'm quite okay, above average in this format and this kind of racing. And that kicked my season off for that year. And as what the guys said about racing, I think I did the opposite. I think I raced too much. I did, I think, close to 15 half distances last year. And yeah, that was, I wouldn't say a mistake, but I learned a lot from that. That I'm not built as a Norwegian yet, and I need time to adapt on the distance and the traveling, and as well budget and everything. So this year we'll take it a bit different and just see every race as an opportunity to race the strongest guys, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah. So how many years were you involved with ITU with the WEC?
I started in 2014 as a junior in the European Cup. And then I raced some World Cups and the World Series. But I think it never really reached my potential there. And as well, I think if I can see, like, maybe on a really good day, maybe top 20 in the World Series, but never the opportunity that I create for myself in 70.3 or even longer distance. I don't know that yet, but yeah, it's completely different dynamics. And I'm that kind of guy that when I go over the edge with my lactate, I'm really over the edge. And with 70.3 racing, it's a bit more around the edge and not over it. So I think it suits me better. And as well, I think for the opportunity to race for these kind of organizations, as an athlete, it's way more fun. At least that's what I believe. I don't know what other people think, but as an opportunity to like actually create something for yourself and for the people around you. I think Miami to kick off last year here as well was for me like the perfect lift off. to actually find sponsors, find people around me, and actually as well believe in the fact that I'm here to race and that I belong. So yeah.
Well, and you kicked it off with that 4th at Miami, and then 6th at Samarin, and then you win at Switzerland. What did it mean to you to win that race?
4th behind Daniel in 70.3 Elsinore.
Yes, 4th behind Daniel Elsinore. Yep.
The guy showed us how biking really works there. We 10 minutes on the bike, Bob.
10 minutes?
Yeah, we were like doing 250 watts average, and they were like dropping 350 watts average there.
That's what you got to do. So.
I was ashamed, but yeah. So yeah.
You still got 4th, but you won Switzerland.
Yeah, but I rather got European champ.
So Daniel, you and Sam have had some races together over the years, right? And talk a little bit about the racing against Sam.
Yeah, I think we are basically the same age, so around that. So I think just coming into the sport together at the same time, it's nice to have bump heads to each other a bit more than what it's been before at the long distance scene, like with the PTO races coming in and everything. I think we have the possibility to kind of race more against each other. And then also I've come to America a bunch of times to race, and then Sam always shows up. So it's that's always nice that one guy will be on the start list at least. So I think we've had some fun against each other. Hopefully it will continue for many years ahead. So
yeah, it was shaping up a couple of years ago at St. George, right? It was really shaping up. It was like Lionel and Sam and you guys were all like flying, and then you ended up with that penalty that we were waiting for that 3-way sprint.
Yeah, I didn't remember that. Yeah, no, I think actually that
better
was
to erase the penalties from the mind.
Yes,
that's
both you guys. I love it.
I think that's one of the funniest races, or like the times where I had the most fun racing, because it was like we were basically just running, me, Sam, Lionel, and Magnus together on the top of the hill of St. George, and it was kind of spectacular to have that kind of race head to head against each other. That was kind of fun, and also the route also, or the course there, kind of, you have to be a strong athlete to be there on the top podium. We saw that in St. George as well later that year, like Sam 2nd and me 3rd at the World Championships.
Yes,
it's just a course that also suits us, because you have to be just a strong athlete basically, and you need to have big balls to actually race well there. You have to take chances, and also not be afraid of hurt yourself a bit. So yeah.
So Sam, how is this sport over the last number of years? It's become, obviously, with more money coming in from PTO, deeper prize purses, it's led to great competition and great racing. How does it change from your perspective? Because it seems like the ante keeps you keep upping the ante, and people are going faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think with the influx of money, especially from the PTO, that we've just seen the sport get more professional, with better degree of coaching, better equipment choices, just all around. I feel like it's turning more into what you would see in the cycling world in Europe, and that's a good thing in a lot of ways, right? It means faster performances. It just means people are more organized about what they're doing, and they're more disciplined. And of course, so much of it is based off equipment. I always say that, like, the times are going to get faster, but we've just seen equipment get so much better over the years, even from tubeless tires to TT frames to, super running shoes, to the gels we use, to the skin suits we use, to everyone going to wind tunnels. Like, there's just so much technology innovation going on as well. But I do think that the top of the top is probably about the same as what it's been for a long time, but that the depth has gotten much deeper. Like, I think 10 years ago, you'd look and, there'd only be maybe 5 guys. You'd only really be talking about 5 guys possibly have a chance at Kona. And now or any race really. And now
Right.
you can look at any world championship or PTO race or 70.3 worlds, and it's like there's 20 guys you need to talk about. And it used to be, oh, you'd come to a race, you know, like Clash Miami, and there'd be maybe 2 guys to talk about. And here we are with 4 of us, and we're missing one of the main guys, you know? So we got 5 top tier athletes at
Yep.
a season opener here in Clash Miami. And a decade ago, there was just no way you would have seen that.
No way at all. And Jason, last year we were all watching as you ran your way through the field during the run here. When you come away from that race and get second place, most of us are looking at it going, "Oh my God, what a great race for Jason!" But I'm guessing you're probably looking at it going, "I should have won that thing."
Well, I mean, it's always like people see how fast you run or something, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't give you the win, you know, you have to kind of look at a little bit of like, well, what went wrong maybe in the earlier parts of the race that I could do better, that strength that I have can actually be really used to put me in the front. So yeah, I mean, obviously it was a great race, but it's March and you're just getting the year going. And, you know, yeah, I took a lot of confidence from that, hey, I ran really well. And, you know, I try not to get too high or too low about certain things. You kind of just take the positives and you say, hey, that was really great. Like, obviously some of the preparation I did, you know, made that happen, and let's look at what we did right. And then it's like, hey, you know, if Sam's gonna ride 5 minutes into me, that's not a good thing. So it's like, you know, let's sort that out. So yeah, I mean, I always look at it like that's a strength and that's great, but I don't want to have to be running everybody down. I want to be with them through the earlier stages of the race, and then just be able to use that strength. So yeah, always positives and negatives, and you just take both of them.
Love it. Hey, and Sam, this year you made a coaching change. Talk a little about that and what you've gained from that. That's always tough when you make a change. You've had success and you make a change. Sometimes that's a hard decision to make.
Yeah, I'd say it was a hard decision to make, but the change has been relatively easy as far as implementing it. If I raced 12 times last year, that's how many I did, nine half distance races and 3 fulls. Under my past coaching methods, I probably did another at least 20 days of racing and training. That might have even been harder than the race days. And so this year's really seen me kind of scale back like my big epic training days, so to speak,
Right.
and just kind of be more consistent. And I've noticed I've got, you know, much more energy to do the dishes at home now that my girlfriend's pregnant. So that's good as well. And I'm happier. I'm less tired. I'm less angry. Just because when you get kind of run down into the ground, you know, those negative emotions and negative energy kind of comes out. So I found it to be very easy kind of actually to implement the changes with the coaching, and just the data doesn't really lie. So when you've got someone with a PhD looking at all your data and they say, hey, your data, this and this and this says you need to rest, then, you know, I can't fight with that. So I have given that trust in the science and said, okay, I need to rest, and I'll listen to that. And yeah, we'll see the confirmation of if things are working. I guess we'll see on Friday, at least if it's somewhat working. It's not like everything needs to go perfectly right away.
So when you look at the field and you obviously Lionel and Jason's right there, and you know, Daniel, you've raced a number of times. Talk a little bit about racing Daniel, because you've raced him before. What do you have to worry about with him?
Yeah, with you just talking about Daniel with that a few minutes ago, it's funny. Like, I actually think of all the Europeans, I think we've maybe raced each other the most.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking the PTO has never made anything about me and him having a rivalry or anything, even though there's a lot of history with us racing. And
it doesn't create likes.
Yeah, it doesn't create likes, I guess, because we're too respectable to each other, you know.
Like,
yeah, you know what? That's how you build real rivalries, by making it authentic and by really respecting the other guy. I mean, it's not like Mark Allen and Dave Scott didn't respect each other. That's how you do it.
Exactly. And you have to know, every time I race Daniel, I know I'm going to have to get the best out of myself. I mean, there's never a question. Daniel's, you know, one of the top 3 swimmers in the sport. And I'm clearly not one of the top 3 swimmers in the sport. So I'm always chasing. And then, yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with Daniel and they say, oh, he's not a strong cyclist. Daniel's a strong cyclist. And
yeah,
my work's cut out for me to catch him on the bike if I do. And there's plenty of races I haven't even seen him all day. And so best case scenario is, we see each other, and then looking towards a run battle. And I think we're going to have Jason in there as well. And so I think we're going to see some fireworks on the run here on Friday with all four of us, actually.
Absolutely. Youri will be up there as well. That's very fun. Yeah, and it's fun too, because like you said, you and Daniel came in sort of the same time, and you've both, I think, over the last few years, I mean, Sam, you were sleeping on your parents' couch in the basement, and I don't know where Daniel was at, but you guys have both done.
Yeah,
I mean, on the sofa.
Yeah, there's a funny story. I sort of thought Daniel was two people at first, because he changed his Instagram name, right? It used to be the real striker. And so I thought, oh, who's this guy? And then I see Daniel Baekkegard, and I'm going, wait a minute, they look alike, and there's two different people. Like, I got to get my whereabouts on who's who. And then I finally realized, oh, it's the same guy.
Yeah, I got a manager who told me stop playing around. Now we have to get serious. So
you should change it back. Like the real OG or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel, how have you changed in this last few years? Obviously, you've gotten to a way higher level than you've been before.
I don't think I've changed that much. It's still the same. It's the same people I'm surrounded by, and also coaching. Of course, I've started getting a manager who could take care of all the business side of things, and that helped me a lot in regards of not having to sleep on a sofa, basically.
So you were sleeping on the sofa too?
Yeah, I had some financial problems. I'll not dig in deeper to that, but that comes with the PTO, and also just kind of taking the opportunities to race. And I think that's also why I've went to the States and race a lot, because it's just now you can't really race in Europe that much. I'm going to race in 70.3 Lanzarote next week as well, but that's basically the first race you can do in Europe. And I would just like to I've also done Dubai a couple of times and stuff, just start racing early. And I think you have the opportunity to race all year long, but it's just nice to get going and see where you're at, and then you can go back and study the races you've done and get better from that. And then the coach will plan your training sessions coming from those races and the data we get from that. So I think that it's an approach that I've gained a lot of, and also you're never in really bad shape. Of course, I'm not in at 100%, but I think if you're still at 90%, you can still do fairly well. That's maybe the way I've changed the most the last couple of years. The fact that I've been more relaxed in terms of I know that I can actually mix it up with the biggest guys when I'm not at 100%. You don't have to stress about the last percentage, and just enjoy racing. That's basically it.
So Youri, what would it mean to win this race with this field?
Well, yeah, I don't know actually. Quite a lot, I think.
A bit better after party.
Yeah, I'm not so good at after parties anymore. Back in my ITU days, I was quite good at after parties, but kind of lost that touch. But no, a lot. I think as well, and I think we saw that last year. This race is really over when it's over. So many that last two laps here on the run track.
Yes.
That's twice the race distance. That's so long, and that feels like for ages. So I think if I look to that, and if I look to how I came out of this winter, I think it would just give me the right track and give me the right how should you say that, showing me that I'm doing the right things, I made the right choices, and I have the right people around me, because it's not only me who wins that race, then it's like more than me. But I'm like the little monkey where you put the money in and he does the job. So yeah, like it's way more than that. So I mean like a lot for me. Like first of all, beating those guys, actually sitting here already with those guys is already for me a big thing. And then actually beating the guys in a race would be even more.
Love it.
But I'm not afraid.
Good man. Good man. Hey guys, thanks so much for taking time. Really a treat to get to interview all four of you guys together, and can't wait to see what happens on Friday.
Thanks, Bob.
Good to
A
see
pleasure again, everybody. Breakfast with Bob. This is our Clash Miami pre-race show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.